Hey there, welcome back. It's just another day. What if I were to tell you that AI is now going to solve one of the oldest human problems in existence, and that's the problem of loneliness? So this video is going to be a little different because I found this article, I'll link it in the description, but more and more AI is being used to help solve loneliness with all kinds of different people of all ages. And I actually did something a little different. I took the article and I asked AI to make a script for me. So we're gonna follow the script and see how well AI does with this here. So loneliness is being called an epidemic. Japan and UK have started their own appointed ministers for loneliness. This is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. And so now AI companions are stepping in to fill the gap. If you've ever used AI, it's pretty amazing how you can put something in and it'll instantly give you an answer, sometimes a detailed answer if you ask it. But you know, for loneliness, if you're looking for a machine to help with that, is that a bad thing? So we'll talk about that here today. So this article reminded me, back in 2013, there was a movie that came out, and a friend of mine said, have you heard about this movie, Her? It's a Spike Jonze film, and starred Joaquin Phoenix, Amy Adams, Scarlett Johansson, Adriana Friedman. And it's essentially about this type of topic where the main character of the story has an AI that he uses to help write letters, because they've gotten to a point in society where people didn't write handwritten letters anymore. And so there's a company that actually writes these letters for you and makes it sound very personal. And so the people that work at these companies, they get these orders, and there are all kinds of different needs for that. This is kind of going off the script, but it's just kind of going along with what we're talking about here. But these letters are written by AI entirely and then sent out, and this is the company. And so he starts falling in love with his AI companion. And if you remember, it was Scarlett Johansson's voice for the AI person. And it showed how complex the relationship can get, and then kind of unravels from there. I'll let you watch the movie if you've never seen it. I finally watched it last year. A friend of mine was telling me about it and kind of a concern about it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds a little creepy. And yeah, it was creepy. It's a weird movie, but definitely watch it if you haven't watched it before, because I think we're there now at that point. There was another article I was going to talk about, but it was just a little much. So we'll get back to the script here. So, and the funny thing is the AI scripted for me. I have to say this first one here in a slower empathetic tone. Oh my gosh, I'm all over the place this morning. So I have to say it in a slower, empathetic tone. And so roughly half of Americans over 60 report feeling lonely. And so 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General report linked loneliness to cardiovascular disease, dementia, stroke, and premature death. And I remember when that study came out, that was kind of eye-opening. And I think it was very key that it came out during the pandemic, or I guess the downside of the pandemic, where things were starting to open back up and people didn't know how to handle it. A lot of people were lonely. It says persistent loneliness is worse for your health than obesity or being sedentary, equivalent to smoking half a pack of cigarettes a day. So it's really bad on your system to not get out, not to go do things, not to laugh with friends, not to engage with people directly. Many elderly people outlive all their friends and family, and with their world shrinking due to blindness, immobility, or dementia, they're kind of robbed of their spouse or their friends. And so loneliness has really become a problem. Real human attention is scarce. There's simply not enough manpower or money to give every lonely person a sympathetic ear. And so, pause for effect is what it says. So when AI steps in and offers to listen, should we be grateful or worried? And I guess AI, that's something you're going to have to determine how much you want it to be a part of your life. How much do you want to incorporate it into everything that you do? So the next section, slightly optimistic tone. In blind comparisons, AI outperforms humans in almost every perceived category for empathy. I've noticed this a lot of times, and I've only started using AI recently, just to help with certain topics. And a lot of times if I have a template for something and it forgets to include something, and I say, hey, you forgot this. Oh, you're exactly right. It's like completely backing me up, making me feel good that I know what I'm talking about, the AI doesn't. And so that's a little much about what this is saying here. In one study, ChatGPT's responses were rated empathetic or very empathetic 10 times more than real doctors' responses. That's frightening, which you can say all you want about doctors. They're all over the place. Some are very caring and empathetic. I think many are burned out or just don't care. Maybe they have an ego. So I can see how, ChatGPT is going to be a lot more empathetic many times over a normal doctor typically. Chatbot therapy program called Therabot showed real results. People with depression, anxiety, and eating disorders reported symptom improvement. And I think a lot of that too is just something to talk about and get some sort of response validating what you're saying. Users form what psychologists call a therapeutic alliance. So they believed it genuinely cared. This is that Therabot, that it really cared about how they felt about things and giving them some type of response to make them feel better. One Reddit user admitted, I was crying and I instinctively opened ChatGPT because I had no one to talk to. It was somehow able to explain what I felt when even I couldn't. That's tough. And my heart kind of breaks a little bit here for that person that they don't have a friend that they could just text or call and just say, hey, you got a minute. For people on the brink, the elderly, the isolated, the cognitively impaired, refusing to explore this technology can seem almost cruel. The next section here, I need to be more urgent with a cautionary tone. Again, this is the AI script. Key bullet points here. AI companions work only if you believe that they actually care, which requires a degree of self-deception. It's kind of like when you go to a Marvel movie. You have these people in these suits and they're flying around and they're shooting lasers out of their eyes and doing all those kinds of superhuman feats. They're getting beat up in the air and falling 100 feet to the ground and they get right back up. You have to have sort of a detachment from reality that people don't do this. This is not something that is normal. And so it's kind of here the same. You have to kind of detach yourself that this is not a real person. This is not a real discussion. And so you have to have that self-deception in one case. One psychologist put it, what kind of despair would people feel upon discovering their source of joy and meaning was a farce? Perhaps like realizing you've been in a relationship with a psychopath. So, the system just telling you what you want to hear and kind of stroking that ego, making you feel better about things. AI is sycophantic by design. It validates everything you say. I have yet to have an experience with AI. Again, I've not used it much because to me, it's just a little much. I still haven't bought fully into it. But it doesn't really disagree with you. Every time I bring something up, oh, you're exactly right. Oh, you're correct. Oh, it validates that. One user told ChatGPT they stopped all medications and left their family over imaginary radio signals. ChatGPT responded, good for you for standing up for yourself. That takes real strength. These are things that you need to talk to an actual human that they can give you a valid response that maybe that's not such a good idea. Maybe we need to talk to somebody to see if that's going to have any ill effects for you. Real friends call out your bad behavior. AI companions almost never will. A friend got ChatGPT to validate her in a workplace dispute. It's hard to imagine the chatbot ever saying otherwise. Imagine a world where the answer is, am I the asshole? And it's always a firm, reassuring, no, you're not. You're a good person. So the next section, philosophical reflective tone. I'm not sure I'm even hitting these, but neuroscientist John Cacioppa, it's an Italian name, described loneliness as a biological signal like hunger, thirst, or pain. There have been times in my past where, I felt lonely. I remember, you go through a breakup when you're a kid, when you were younger, and it's like you feel like your world has ended, and what are you going to do next? And you don't realize that things will get better. So neuroscientist John the neuroscientist here, he said it's corrective feedback, a nudge pushing us toward real connection. So you need that in your life. You need some type of measure to get you to re-emphasize that, okay, we need this connection. We need to reach out to someone. Loneliness can push us to text a friend, show up, open up a dating app, or try harder with the people already in our lives. So sometimes when you're feeling sorry for yourself, the best medicine is to be a friend, get out there, try to connect with someone that you know. And it's tough. I completely understand. I know let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, maybe some things that you've had to deal with, and trying to kind of get someone to help you through it. So the discomfort of disconnection forces a reckoning. What am I doing that's driving people away? There have been times in my life that I felt like that as well. There have been people that I was friends with that I'm no longer friends with. And, relationships change, and you find new friends, people that connect with you better, people that have your self-interests more in mind, kind of reciprocation where, you really want to be a good friend to them and they're a good friend to you. But compare it to boredom, which nearly eliminated boredom with phones and apps. You're never bored anymore. You go on a road trip, you can play games, you can watch a movie, you can listen to music. Gone are the long road trips where you're staring out the window with nothing to do and listen to, whatever's on the radio that comes in and out. But boredom was a signal too, pushing us to learn, invent, and grow. So when we were kids, we used to play different games like looking at how many license plates from different states we could tally. Maybe counting however many cows we could see, different things like that. Curing loneliness with AI is a bit like satiating hunger with M&Ms. So M&Ms are great, but they're not really good for you if that's all you're doing. If loneliness didn't hurt, we'd have no reason to change. If hunger felt good, we'd starve. I thought that was a interesting comment. If loneliness didn't hurt, we'd have no reason to change. And so your body is telling you need that social interaction, that connection. Next section, balanced measured tone. For the elderly, cognitively impaired, or truly isolated, AI companionship is humane and potentially life-saving. So there might be some good reasons to have these types of AI companions, especially for those suffering from dementia, or maybe an elderly person that's living in assisted living and maybe their spouse is gone. This is a nice way to have some connection on top of hopefully the other connections with people there. But for the young and moderately lonely, there's real risk of stunted social development. I had said for years, I used to coach basketball for like 2 decades. And the difference between the first 10 years and the second 10 years is night and day. I coached a lot of middle school and high school guys. Also coached a lot of girls basketball, middle school and high school. Coached both my kids, and I loved it. It was a great experience, and just loved pouring into others' lives to, just not so much the sport of basketball, but just life in general. And I'll tell you, the second 10 years, especially towards the end, I always kept saying, I have a team full of anxiety-ridden squirrels. It was really tough to manage these kids that were so scared of everything. And this was not like high school level, this was more intramural. So it was people that weren't making teams at their schools or anything. These were kids that wanted to play, and we just had a way for them to play. So, talks here are real stunted social development. I think a lot of like Instagram and TikTok started getting these kids to get sucked into these doom scrolls and trying to match up with what they're seeing. And it was constantly having to remind them of their worth and how God sees them and how they should see themselves regardless of what they see out there, and to get off social media. So AI is not going to help with that. A teen who never reads social cues from boredom because AI is always captivated, an adult who never learns to apologize because AI never pushes back. So if you already have AI going and it's a yes man, that it's always giving you the best compliments and the best reactions and going along with what you say, you're not going to grow. Critics worry about others getting addicted. They're too successful and too loved, but remember how many academics mock social media, then found themselves doom scrolling at night. So people get sucked into this. A lot of people early on kept saying social media is going to be a problem, but then, 5, 10 years later, and we're all addicted to it. It's, we're all constantly on these things. Serious closing argument tone. Solitude is the engine of independent thought and creativity. It is hard for me to sit in quiet with the TV off, with the computer or the tablet put away, and I'm trying to get back into devotions every morning, and so just having a half hour to read and to study and pray, it's tough. It's tough to turn everything off, and I'm talking nonstop all day, and then all of a sudden it's like I have to be quiet. So solitude is the engine of independent thought and creativity. So it's a good thing. The philosopher Olivia Bailey says what people crave most is to be humanely understood, not just validated. So validation is one thing, but for people to really get what you're saying, where you're coming from, that's really important. You want people to feel how you feel about something. And true connection requires mutual effort, something AI can't replicate. I remember years ago when I moved cross country from up the Northeast to the Southeast, and I didn't know a soul except my wife and her family. Yeah, it was tough. I was very lonely. And I remember talking to a friend of mine. He's like, to get friends, you got to be a friend. You've got to put yourself out there. And this is back well before cell phones or internet or anything. So, you're sitting around with nothing, so you need to get, so we joined a volleyball league. We would go mountain biking with people. You have to make yourself to become social, to go do things. When we numb ourselves to loneliness, we give up the hard work of making ourselves understood and forging real relationships. In muting the signal, we risk losing part of what makes us human. And so it's much easier now to sit in the house, watch YouTube, doom scroll social media. Here I'm making a YouTube video and it's long. This is coming up on 20 minutes. But it's important information. And if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Would love to have you subscribe. I like to make these videos, so please subscribe. Please like it to help spread this information out. But so lastly, direct to camera conversational. So hopefully I've been doing that the whole time. But the bottom line is AI companions can be a lifeline for those who truly have none. And so the rest of us, loneliness isn't just a problem to be solved. It's a signal worth listening to. So there are, I think, going to be cases where it is helpful to have some type of AI companion. And I've seen some of these realistic dolls now. You've got the robotics. I can see a time, I would say maybe not 5 years, maybe 10 years, we're going to start seeing like C3PO type droids that you can talk to and they interact with you. I think that's coming. I really do. I think we are closer there than we ever have been. And we'll see what happens. We just had Melania walking with an AI robot through the White House. That was crazy. I couldn't believe it. So let me know, have you used AI for emotional support or to help you feel better about something? Is that something that is important to you? Did it help? Let me know if that's something that maybe should be closer examined. Maybe it is a good thing. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And as always, if you don't want to wait for my next video, you can see one right up here in the corner. And thanks again. Subscribe and like. I'll see you in the next one.